looking at a biasing system that was designed for working on knit fabrics. It's got three major components in the design. The first being a surface feed tensionless unwinder. The second being a doubling device with edge control. And the third being the sewing unit itself, where you're sewing into winding device is equipped with edge control devices which are attached to the doubling unit. The idea being that you always want to present the material to the doubler centralized to the doubling unit. The unwinder will traverse left and right between these electric eyes, keeping the material centralized. The tensionless unwinding is accomplished by means of a dancer bar, which is being actuated by an ultrasonic sensor. The ultrasonic sensor will speed up as the dancer bar rises, and slow down as the dancer bar drops. In addition to that, on the unwinding device, there's a micro switch so that when the roll is finished and the core lifts, the machine will have there'll be an indicator for the operator to know that the roll of material is about to run out. After it is fed under the dancer bar, the material then is brought up in the air over the doubler by means of an auxiliary feeding roller on top. These feeding rollers also have some air jets which are blowing any curl in the fabric out. The material then passes over the top of the feeding device to another roller which is synchronized to the first roller. From there, it passes over a triangular board which folds the material in half. And again, it goes through an edge control device which has got air jets also for bringing the material out, the curl out of the material rather. It then goes around this transition roller and is fed into the sewing unit itself. Both the upper and lower rollers are variable speed driven, and the operator has fine-tuning control behind where she sits.
Go ahead.
The edge control device on the doubler has also got an adjustment, this wheel right in front of me here, where you can move the edge controllers in and out to accommodate different width material. The doubler is built to accommodate about 62-inch material. The transition roller then is being fed into the sewing unit. The sewing unit is equipped with a seam opener, which is opening up the seam and pressing it open as the seam is being sewn. There's a synchronizer on the end of the shaft of the sewing machine, which effectively keeps all of these three components in synchronization to each other. So as the machine stops or slows down or speeds up, all of the auxiliary feeding devices will stay in synchronization. As the material, you'll also notice that there's a clock on the sewing unit, which is preset for the amount of yardage on the bobbin. As the count, when it reaches the preset number, there's an indicator light in the front of the machine for the operator to know that she has to change the bobbin, thus avoiding any opening in the seam. That same light is also triggered by the micro switch mentioned earlier on the unwinding device, so that the operator also knows to stop sewing when the roll of material is about to finish. There's a temperature controller and an on-off switch for the heating mechanism on the sewing unit itself, on the seam opener, I should say. In addition, the sewing unit is equipped with a vacuum device for the salvage. Some people prefer to use the vacuum device. Some people use a mechanical takeaway device, which is what we're using right now, with the roller on top. Okay? The salvage is fed up and over the top of this, and then generally a waste basket or a waste box would be placed in this position for the material to just drop into. You can use the vacuum unit to suck the waste away, in which case then you'd have to monitor the amount of waste in the vacuum box and then dispose of it accordingly. The unwinding device is a slip clutch mechanism, which is under this cover. You really can't see it, but as the roll, it basically is just a slipping device which will wind as the roll is smaller to a larger diameter. You'll notice also on the triangular board we have put a piece of Teflon, okay, with really nothing but gravity weight on it, which is basically facilitating keeping any wrinkling out of the material as it's being sewn into the sewing unit. As you can see, we're getting a nice clean folded edge. We're getting very little curl in the material as it's being presented to the machine. Watch the roll. Folded edge is coming through nice and square.